This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
And he is the Pac-12 head producer. So for the last couple of years, he has been, all over what's gone on in that conference. And last night, Jaime got drafted by the Miami Heat straight out of UCLA. He is in Los Angeles. So let's bring my man Dan, the man Lynch, on. How you feeling, my man? You feeling good?
Oh, baby. It's been a minute, man. How you been, brother?
I'm doing great, bro. I mean, flying solo. Not obviously with Sean, but what I mean is going away from, traditional stuff.
For sure.
The last 2 years, it's been a blessing, my brother. It's just awesome. So I really can't complain. The following has been strong. People have supported the platform. So, I can't complain, brother. When you can do things on your own and survive, that's all I can ask for. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt, man. Well, you look amazing, and you know who else looks amazing? Jaime Jaquez in a Miami Heat uniform. I mean, listen, I tweeted at you last night. The second I heard that pick, I automatically thought of you. I was like, this guy is tailor-made for Miami. So we had him on right after the season ended, right when UCLA got kicked out of the tournament, and he took his first ever spring break trip to where? Miami. And absolutely fell in love with the place. Like, he was having the time of his life, living, on some yachts, doing some jet skiing. And, I never really kind of put it together, but it made so much sense that they told us months ago, the universe told us months ago that Jaime was going to end up in Miami. But really, when you think about it from a basketball standpoint, unbelievable fit. Like, the kid, he's not even a kid. This guy is a man playing college basketball. 6'7" frame, big body, could get up and down the court, fits perfectly in that Spoelstra offense, and he plays defense. How many times do we see college basketball players, can't make that next level?
Defense is a lost art, dude.
Right.
Yeah.
That does not happen at UCLA with Mick Cronin. So
I saw in the highlights, and again, I know it's highlights, but his hands are super active in the passing lanes and things like that. Like, he creates dude, he reminds me a lot of Jimmy Butler with the craftiness around the basket, the anticipatory skills of the passing lane and deflecting passes and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of Jimmy Butler in Jaime. You're right or wrong here?
I don't think he's as athletic as Jimmy, but yeah, same type of body frame, same type of like, hey, he's thinking down the court the entire time.
Right.
He's not like trying to go backwards and let's slow it down. Like, no, he's going to move the ball. And when you meet him in person, you see him in person, he's bigger than you think he is. He's an NBA sized guy already. Like, when you look at most of the draft, right, a lot of these guys are young. Jaime is a senior, and he technically could have came back one more year to UCLA if he wanted to. And some people were like, hey, maybe he would, because most of the draft and most of the mocks did not have him in the first round until like Monday. So he was kind of like an in-between player, but I've been watching him for the last four years out west and been extremely impressed with him. I think if he played on the East Coast, played at any other schools in the Midwest, his name would have been a lot higher. But unfortunately, he plays in the Pac-12, which, listen, we have unbelievable talent, but you guys on the East Coast just don't want to stay up and watch. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, no, of course. By the way, let's see. Here we go. Justin Powell played at Washington State, just signed with the Heat. Taylor Funk played at Utah State, just signed with the Heat. Drew Peterson signed an Exhibit 10 contract, USC forward. So let me ask you,
he also
about Drew Peterson, the forward from USC, since it's right in your backyard?
Again, was he didn't get drafted, right?
No, it's an Exhibit 10 contract. These are after the draft last night. In the middle of the night, they're signing these undrafted guys. And here in Miami, we actually give a shit about the undrafted guys because, dude, it started with UD, and it's just continued over the years under Riley that they find gems every once, and now lately they've been finding a lot of gems.
Yes.
So that's why I have to ask you, what do you know about Drew Peterson?
Peterson should have been at least a second rounder. He should have been drafted. Again, it kind of goes back to the argument that I just said with Jaime, where last week he wasn't even invited to the green room. He was maybe being mocked in the second round. I think Peterson, if he played on the East Coast, if he played in the middle of the country, if he played at a bigger program, other than USC basketball, probably would have slid into the second round. Drew is a slasher, another big body who could rebound. And, I wouldn't say as athletic as Jaime, but Jaime and Drew went up against each other for the last 4 years. So you bring him in, and no matter what role he has, if he's going to be playing in the G League or the practice team, he's going up against Jaime, and he knows how to get into Jaime like that. That's just like thinking ahead forward. Like, all right, let's think about practice right now for our number 18 pick. All right, we're going to bring in a guy who his rival at USC, who they had battles against each other. And sometimes Drew would get the better of Jaime, and Jaime would get the better of him. I want to say UCLA. No, because Mick Cronin did not beat UCLA or USC until 2020. Or something on the lines of that at USC. So Peterson and USC got a hold of UCLA a couple times. He is no joke, big body too. I think you gained a couple pounds on him in the NBA. He could definitely be one of those sneaky Miami guys. You're like, where did he come from? Oh, USC. They have a basketball program there too. No, so that's a great pick. I love that pick for them. I mean, man, they are.
By the way, I'm a little tired of people wearing out the unathletic stuff.
Okay.
The best player in the world right now is unathletic.
You're so right.
Okay?
You're so right.
Okay?
I mean, yeah.
It's like I watched Joe Johnson for 20 years play the old man game. That's what I noticed about Jaime yesterday. Well, he's unathletic. No, dude, he's smart. Watch him. He knows how to use his body to defend the defender from his body and the ball. He knows how to play the game the smart way. Adrian Dantley was slow. Bird wasn't like super athletic or anything like that. Jokic doesn't move around like Olajuwon or Bam Adebayo or any of that kind of fluidity. But he is smart. You know what I'm saying? So there has been a lot of players over the years. Dude, Paul Pierce made a living his last 12, 14 years in the league of playing old man basketball, because old man basketball flies as long as you know positioning and how to put your body. Moses Malone played an old man game. He could jump this high for years, and yet he would get 17 rebounds. And why? Because he bodied your ass out of the way before he got the rebound, because he knew how to play the game. And to me, that's this unathletic stuff. Come on, dude. I've seen the guys that are super athletes and yet don't become terrific basketball players.
Yeah,
so it's about becoming a basketball player, and that's what I see in Jaime.
I mean, Jaime, he comes from a basketball background. His little sister also plays at UCLA. She was a freshman last year. California State legend when it comes to high school basketball. This guy is amazing. And, honestly, I believe he's like the 6th or 7th Mexican ever drafted into the NBA. So there's a lot of things riding on this guy, and he's capable of handling absolutely everything. I think you gain a couple pounds on him too in the NBA. But the biggest thing that he took away from UCLA that every single time is the guy almost never missed the game. You could seriously see him out there every single night. If he was a little hurt or not, he would be out there giving full effort. And that's a trait that you can't take. You can't teach. You either have it or you don't. And in the NBA, you need that. And he is a tough SOB. So I tweeted at you last night. And I was like, honestly, this is the pick of the draft right now. And to go to Miami of all places,
well,
LA to Miami, come on. Oh, that's amazing. Man.
And one of the things I noticed, which I think the Heat must love, he plays terrific with or without the basketball. His awareness on the court, setting his teammates up, or waiting for the right moment to make a cut to get the pass. I mean, his intelligence, awareness, his vision. I was really impressed with that with Jaime.
I think about this now, right? Like, if you put Jaime on that championship team, like against the Nuggets, do I think they win? No. Do I think they steal a couple games? Yeah. You know, like, and I'm saying like with Jaime with a year of experience, not just like, you know, like playing like right in, right? Like let him play his rookie year. If he's on that roster, man, that's a really sneaky piece right there. But now you add all these like undrafted guys in, man. Miami is watch out. They're secretly my favorite right now to go back. I mean, why not? But yeah, Jaime is an amazing guy. And you know, we've had him on a few times. Great kid. I shouldn't even say great kid. He's a college graduate. I mean, he's a man. He's a great man, and I think he's just like the most NBA ready guy in the entire draft. So, man,
all right,
go Heat, brother.
You gave me Jaime. You gave me Drew. Let me pick your brain really quick here before you got to go. Utah State's Taylor Funk. Love the freaking name. You know anything about this kid?
So Utah State, that's technically not in the Pac-12, but they did play Utah a few times. Yeah, the kid could jump out of the gym. He probably should have been playing at that level. But you know, with the transfer portal, you know, really Power 5 to lower level conference really isn't that big of a difference, especially when it comes to basketball, right? But no, he's a hell of an athlete. Again, I think he's the type of player that you won't probably see on an NBA roster for at least 2 years. Maybe you let him hang around the G League, but you know, he's gonna be a great practice player too. Like that, the Heat practice team is so impressive. And I think that's like another element of why Miami continues to be so good every single year, is because they have so many layers to greatness on that team, so many different type of players, and the culture there is a set. So when you had a guy like him in there too, who could jump out of the gym, really just move around really fast, why not? He's one, and if you give him a chance like that, building in the culture of Spoelstra, and wow, yeah. So like I said, I've seen him play a few times, but
wait a minute, you're telling me he could jump out of the gym? So on a big dunk, I can see the crowd going, "We want the funk.
Hey,
We've got
the funk.
We want." All right, so one more. Justin Powell last year played at Washington State and shot 42% from three-point range. Talk to me about Justin Powell. Do you know anything about him?
Yeah, so the first thing that comes to mind is Kyle Smith, who's the head coach of Washington State. Kyle Smith has put so many guys in the NBA that you have no idea. You're like, where did he come from? You're like, Washington State. Okay, you got to bring it back to Kyle Smith. These guys are ready to play at the next level just because of him, right? That type of place, playing at Washington State, can get you ready to play the next level because you are in the middle of nowhere and you only can really focus on basketball, right? So you really just want to get out of that place. Pullman, Washington, it's beautiful to a certain extent, but you want to get out, right? And he's a type of player who's a thrasher. He has really, like, every single time Washington State played, they would be in games that they were like 2 buckets off or 1 mistake off, right? And he was always in the middle. We're like, okay, is he going to do it or is he not? The times where he hit and he was clutch, they won the games. Time when he wasn't, they'd lost. So I think when you put him on a more talented roster and you put him against a higher talent, it's only going to elevate his game. And, you know, listen, Washington State, there's a couple dudes on that team. Like, that's why I always try to tell people about, hey, pay attention to the Pac-12 because we have athletes out here. You know, we have guys who are going to sneak onto NBA rosters. Be like, where did he play? Klay Thompson, perfect example. Where did he play? Washington State. Oh, really? Yeah, he did. You know, like, and you don't think of guys like that. I'm not saying that he could be a Klay Thompson type of player, but the caliber of that, we have it out west, and it does translate to the NBA, NFL, pretty much MLB. Like, we have the athletes out here. Just stay up and watch. That's all I say. Stay up and watch. Stay up and listen. You're gonna hear their names eventually. And yeah, give this kid a chance. I think he's more of a project compared to the other names that we brought up. But he could definitely ball. He could definitely ball.
There you go. Well, listen, the Heat, their draft pick, and then 3 other guys in the middle of the night unsigned are all on the West Coast. So obviously they feel the same way you do about the talent out west because they clearly had a keen eye on it. And down here, we follow any and every signing nowadays. Dude, Summer League is fun for Heat fans. I look forward to Summer League because it's kind of like Christmas to find out, you know, like this past year, like the Highsmith kid, which I think if I think if they do lose one of their guys and Highsmith gets more time next year, I think he becomes another one of those guys, because he kind of showed it in big moments in the playoffs, like, hey, who's this Highsmith kid? And we've been watching him since the summer league going, hey, man, this kid's interesting and mature and all that. And so I would not be surprised if any of these cats that I asked you about, they end up becoming that next guy that we talk about, like, hey, there's another one of those guys that the Miami Heat found, man. Crazy stuff.
No doubt. No doubt. I mean, that's why I think the NBA draft is so, like, listen, is it boring compared to the NFL draft? Yeah, a little bit. But the aftermath, the after effect of it is like, okay, if you're really a draft guy and you're paying attention to stuff, then you can predict that type of stuff. And you can't really do that in the NFL, right? That's what makes the difference of it. But yeah, it was an interesting night last night for the Pac-12, but like I said, these guys are athletes and they have the mental capacity to really play at the next level. So I can't wait to see what listen, the Jaime Jaquez Miami Heat jersey. Whew,
you're getting one, huh?
Man. Oh man, I really want the white one with like the I think it's the city edition.
Yeah. You're talking about the mashup.
Yes.
The mashup.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I'm definitely thinking about getting that, man. It's pretty awesome.
You got it. All right, his name is Dan Lynch. Follow him on Twitter like I do. Dan Lynch Spurts instead of sports. Just change the O for a U. Dan, I appreciate you, my brother, as always. Thank you for the insight. I know you know your shit, and you follow the Pac-12 and that West Coast stuff out there. So I figured you'd be able to give us, great insight on the Heat's draft and some of the unsigned players, which obviously they're famous for down here. Appreciate you, my brother. Have a great weekend, man. Thank you for taking some time.
So much love. You're a mentor. You're everything, brother. Love you, man. Brother.
You know that. Much love, man. You be good out there. There you go. Dan Lynch. Yes, I've known him for a while. Worked with him, and just one of those dudes, like the guy I work with right now. One of those dudes. You know what I mean? And one of those kind of dudes are like brothers of mine for life. You know what I'm saying? And Dan is a great guy, knows his shit. Okay. And as you can see, he actually had some insight for us, which you're really not going to get anywhere on the undrafted people. You know what I'm saying? So that's actually pretty cool. I saw all these West Coast guys and I said, oh man, Dan's going to know some of these guys. He knew a little bit about all three of them. So there you go. I like it. So.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.